Hello there, and welcome back.
Sapphire
Let's
Hazel
see
is
what we're
now
going to do
in.
today.
Streaming Disco Elysium, first time playing detective RPG.
Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez, in case you've forgotten.
I remember
advise you
that
not to
I was
overstay your
gonna
welcome.
talk to her right when I ended last.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
Yes, extremely normal. I'm not a gardener, by the way. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does. That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest, if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her. Could this be the Miss Beaufort that Easy Leo mentioned? The one Mr. Everard sent to law school?
I suggest not wasting time on trivial pleasantries and focusing on why you are actually here. Titus Hardy.
You caught her off guard. Push her some more.
You are not here to chat up the legal counsel. You are here to question these men.
You set the pace and the topic of these conversations here. Establish that.
Yeah, that's right,
Hey,
bitch.
Sapphire Hazel.
A
How
man
are you
like
doing?
Easy Leo could have said anything.
Hey, Sim,
Do
how you
not be
doing?
restrained, sire.
He said no such thing. This isn't about me.
Calm down, everyone. Let's stay professional.
I'm
Dirty
doing
tactics,
well.
officer.
How are you?
Like I already told you, I'm a legal
I'm
counselor.
doing alright.
Do you have hearing
That's good
problems?
that you're good. That sounds weird.
What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one.
I saw what you were thinking. You want to say, what are you going to do to me? Don't. Just because it's in your head doesn't mean you have to say it.
Aggressive, you make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Get sober. Do your job. Ask your questions and get the hell out of Martinez. Aggressive?
Just
Listen.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your
That was
commanders.
weird. I don't understand that.
Look, A comedian. Do your job. Ask your questions.
Strange. It's as if people don't believe a cop could be a socialist revolutionary.
This is where you say your bit.
Detective.
Don't think I've heard of this game before. What's it about?
Well, as the title says, it's a detective RPG, but it's like really, really in depth because you have like in the beginning I chose like my own abilities, so I put like 4, 4, 2, and 2 into those, and then you can select like your what was it called, like your principal talent or whatever. So I put that into authority, my signature talent or something. So I put it into authority. And like each one, they do different things. And it's kind of like D&D, where like it's a roll of the dice and it's a skill check, and you have to beat the odds of the counter check, I guess, whatever you're checking, right? It's really fun. I like it. It's fully voice acted, which is great because then you can just let it go and they'll talk and you can just listen and it's great. I really, really like this game. You can do a lot, and like your choices matter and different things, and it's awesome. You probably saw a little bit of it during the dialogue. Like authority would say like success or medium success, whatever. You
That's
saw like
awesome.
empathy, maybe.
It looks cool.
Those are these things here, and those are skill checks within the conversation. So if somebody says something, if like you have a high enough perception, I guess, or one of these, you can like tell if they're lying, right? Like you'll be able to tell if you roll a successful, check for that type of thing, and then you could use that to your advantage in the conversation. I love this game.
Wow. The RCM sent us some big dick cops.
Real big dick cops. Look at them, reckless, swinging in the wind.
Yeah, look at the big dick on that cop. Can't tell a dick that big what to do.
Must be something in the water in Jamrock.
Yeah, gave them real nice big dicks.
Welcome to the game, Sin.
Yeah. Anyways.
You might want to start asking your questions now. It's not going to get better than this.
These guys are so macho, they're ready to confess to first-degree murder.
Thanks.
Ask if it was them.
Always happy to hang out with ya.
So, you're not just here to swing your big dick. You're here for the pretty boy. A real looker, that one. Stinks like shit, too.
They couldn't get him down, boss.
Yeah,
He's still
I'm
up
glad you're
there,
here. I appreciate
stinking
you
up the
being here.
place.
Thank you very much.
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
Container belt, like we use in the harbor? Because we took it from the harbor where we work. Then we went out back and used it to hang him. We did this together, all of us, until he was dead. That's why there's a container belt around his neck. Goddamn right.
No. These 7 honest men have equally come forth. They told you what happened so that you don't waste any more of your time.
All 7 together. They're diluting responsibility. It's an anti-arrest tactic.
Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. You can't arrest a hardy boy without arresting all hardy boys.
You see, the thing about that, though, is I mean, I don't know how it exactly works in this world, but I know in the real world, if 7 people unanimously and collectively admit to murdering a single person, then all 7 of them are guilty for a single murder. So I don't know how the rules work in this fucking game.
Found out today, by the way, that I got banned from someone's Twitch and Discord for a crazy reason, but I can tell you on Discord.
Do you think you could
I
arrest
know,
them
right,
all?
lol.
Oh, okay, yeah, you definitely tell me about that.
A trick question. Don't let her lead the conversation.
Who do you fucking think does?
It wasn't a question, dickwad. How fucking stupid are you? This asshole is worse than... Titus runs the Hardy Boys, genius. That's why we're called the Hardy Boys. Ain't that right, fellas?
I don't know what type of effect this will actually have in the game, but the reason why I said Elizabeth and not him, even though I know it's him, is because I wanted this type of reaction. Like, oh, you stupid? No, I want them to admit, tell me who it is. I don't want to say who it is because then that's on my assumption. But if they tell on themselves, like this dumbass just did, then I get my job done better.
I think you got your answer, Mr. Law.
Yes, there are some administrative differences. But on that night, they all acted as one man.
How many people have you sent to the Shays? Ever felt remorse for them?
Chaise électrique is the method of capital punishment in Revachol under the Coalition. During the
The
suzerain's
electric
reign,
chair.
it used to be the firing squad.
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
The River Esperance Correctional Facility, a military prison run by the Coalition, dubbed Reunion by the inmates. The origin of the name is unknown.
But you see, a lawman, is something people agree upon. And here in Martinez, we agreed that this man had to die.
You don't have to keep answering his questions.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We killed him last Sunday night. Seemed like a good way to end the week.
Known him? We don't associate with scum like that, asshole. Yeah! Who do you think we are?
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy.
By the Pines cow, you mean Joyce Messier, a representative for White Pines? The same company you are striking against?
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But you know what?
Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus. Officer, your interview is drawing to an end. Don't waste your last questions.
Fuck you, bitch. I'll say and ask whatever questions I want to. Punch you in the goddamn face.
Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out of line. In my end, he stepped out of line.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Cohoy and Semenine written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade. Right here in our bar.
This one has a special gripe with him coming here.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hire merc shit like that. Story of every strike from here to Samara.
'Cause one night, he walked straight up to the mic and said, I'm RNA's goddamn Special Forces, and I'm gonna fuck you all!
Really?
Yeah, really. Had a gin and tonic up there, sang some RNA's paratrooper song, and said he's gonna fuck everyone.
We couldn't believe it either, but he fucking did, right there. Like some kind of animal.
Sire, the tale is true. This is a serious violation of the karaoke code.
Wrong? He harassed women, raped one, harassed workers, threatened to kill some as a warning.
From rape to harassment to threats of violence. Why the strange de-escalation? He regrets mentioning it. Hopes you didn't notice.
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over. And that was before he started coming here.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. Started coming here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls. Grabbed one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah, this girl's on the mic. A beautiful girl, young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake. The fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt? Then, he gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle. Doesn't even fall down.
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you. He took care of it. They got the girl out before anything else could happen.
Yeah, me and Eugene got her out. Aren't you fucking listening?
There's something odd here. Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape Titus mentioned. Why not? This is a serious allegation. Make them talk about it.
No, you're not getting the name. That's a Martinez matter, and I'm not discussing it with you clowns.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling you.
Why? I am.
What kind?
The kind that...
Alive?
This one.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. Wrong?
From rape, he regrets mention.
To kill us all.
Yeah.
He grabbed...
Yeah. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt?
No.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling you.
I wonder if, like, once it fails initially, if, like, it always fails if you, like, go through the option again. Probably. But I just wanted to see.
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real still. Wasn't that obvious, copper?
Didn't they teach you anything at the cop school, idiot?
You're pretty sure you've had at least 2 years of cop school and many more of active service. This is where an autopsy would come in handy. You have to work with what you know.
Titus, you don't have to clarify anything.
We overpowered him.
Shut up,
Dragged
bitch.
his unconscious body to the tree, put a noose around his neck, and hanged him till he was dead and steady.
Then we left him for seagulls, maggots, and you fucks.
Make them a bit more uncomfortable first, then see if it all adds up.
With numbers, asshole. How do you think? You're right, Lizzie. I've done enough explaining here.
Weren't you fucking listening? The fucker came to our bar. It happened right here.
Titus lets the others clear out the details, so he doesn't get his hands muddy with explaining too much.
Damn. I mean, obviously I'm not gonna try. Unless unless I want to save scum it, right? But damn it, man, there has to be something that could raise this other than just me putting points into it, right? Fuck.
Like what, Copper? Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
It's almost an anthropological sight, watching him try to assert dominance over you.
Not in the arresting mood?
By your side.
Yeah.
Lieutenant keeps his
This
hand
does seem a
away
little
from
bit
his
challenging, but you got
holster.
this.
The nylon of his coat hiss as he steps closer. Easy. Walk back from the provocation. They're armed, and they outnumber us. The lieutenant tries to establish eye contact with you.
Wise move. You made the right choice there. Now make another one, and get the fuck out of our booth. We're not gonna do this again.
Okay, you see, by that, like, I don't, by him saying that, like, if I conclude the questioning, right, can I come back later to try that other test? Or do I just try it, even though it's such a low chance? I mean, it's so low too because it was composure, right? I don't have a lot of composure. I mean, I have a skill point to put into it, but I mean, it's not gonna raise
Try
it
it
all
and
that
see
much.
what happens, but totally up to you.
Wait, try which one? To end the conversation and then to go back to the conversation later, or to just do it? Like, do the check.
Come back later.
Okay, I hope I can. I'm not sure if I can if I conclude the questioning. But you're saying to conclude and just see if I can come back later.
Nothing. Your investigation here is done.
I sure hope
Leave
so.
Martinez, go back to your stations where you belong.
I think we're going to stick around, thanks. Some things don't add up here, Titus. I've done this job for long enough to know that people don't just confess to first-degree murder, even if it is a group responsibility. We're going to look into this.
Good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us, real law officials.
Rent-a-cop? So that's what this is about. He doesn't see you as his equals. Forget about their games. You've mapped out the characters. Reading the footprints in the yard should be easier now.
Godly. It's at godly difficulty.
No. I's here. You got business with my boys. You got business with me.
He understood what you were doing, taking inventory of them. Now watch the other guys fuck it up by falling out of line.
Yeah! You fuck with the Hardy boys, you fuck with Titus Hardy!
Yes, falling out of line to please him. This is the best kind. And now this guy is going to...
Relax, Dennis. No one is fucking you yet.
use it to take a dig at his friend. Floodgates open.
Yeah, Dennis, calm down. No one's fucking you, you stupid fuck.
Let Dennis enjoy his fucking, man. We don't mind.
This one knows how to keep things going. He's a hothead, but not one to be taken lightly. The last one is a bit of a black sheep.
Yeah, you're not even being fucked, Dennis.
Easy, fellas. We got company. Let's see what brings the cop around.
Too late. You already got a pretty good picture of these guys. You can use this. You could take another look at the tracks in the yard. See if they fit with the characters here. It could be incriminating.
Alright, cool. So it looks like I can select him to, like, talk to him again. Alright, cool.
I've got nothing to say to you. Why are you wasting your time?
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod. Was that? Could it be the Col de Mamadakwa? No, it's probably just your imagination ringing in your ear. There seems to be an extremely high-pitched ring. Ultrasonic. Lena said it was very high-pitched, right? It's like something tickles your ear. Lena also said that it couldn't be heard by any other animal, including humans. What you're hearing must just be a regular bird. There it is again. You're about to rediscover a long-lost species. It must be very close. Maybe, just maybe, it will come toward you.
No, I don't hear the Koldomama Dakwa, and neither do you.
Of course he doesn't. He's deaf. Oh no. The sound. It's moving away. Somewhere over there. Go after it. No. Too late. It's gone. There is no ringing anymore. Just the sound of the streets. Keep your ears peeled, then. If the species really has migrated to Martinez, you're sure to hear it again.
back. Sorry. Some ads came up low.
Oh, that's okay.
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. Cop habit. You look at everything. This isn't case-related, you think. Hard to say. No, these tracks are not interesting at all. Let the street sweeper... You see a set of tire tracks in the brown...
One of the ads was a good one though. It was advertising Bog Batch on Disney Plus.
Left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here.
Oh, nice.
Heavy workers' boots with reinforced toes and hobnails all over the yard. Isn't this something an industrial worker would wear?
Noted.
Eight pairs of boots have shuffled back and forth in the mud. Where else have we seen a gang of men in work boots? That's right, the hardy boys in the mess hall of whirling in rags. 1. Standard work boot. Steel reinforced toes. Number 46. Just like Titus was wearing in his booth. This is the big dick, Titus Hardy. The one with the bald cap on his head. Is it? They didn't.
Oh, not sure if I told you or not, but I did find a new job recently.
Maybe even too easy. 2.
Oh, nice. No, you hadn't
Standard
told
work
me.
Boot. Steel
great.
reinforced toes. Number 44. Either the blonde muscular guy, Glenn, or the young guy with a plectrum around his neck. 3. Hobnailed work boot. Steel reinforced toes. Number 43. The inked banger, perhaps. 4. Standard work boot. Number 45 or 46. Theo, the old smoker. You think you even see a tiny fleck of cigarette ash inside the print. 5. Another standard work boot. Reinforced toes. Number 44. Same as before. Either the musician, Eugene, or the muscle-bound blonde, Glenn. 6. Light as air. Same make of boot, but number 41. Small like a rat. Shanky. Better late than never, detective. The whole world is dark and the tracks burn in it with strange
Not as much as I was making, but still pretty good money. Working as a server at Cracker Barrel.
Nice.
Number 46.
At least it's something,
The
right?
imprints are twice as deep as the others. The weight exceeds 200 kilograms. Fat Angus. Carrying something? 8. Another standard work boot. Number 44. There's an aberration in the pattern of the sole.
I love their chicken and dumplings.
More worn. Curious. A missing 8th Hardy boy.
7 sets of tracks, right? The Hardy Boys were here. That's all? Interesting. Then one of them seems to be missing. Anything else out of the ordinary?
Maybe the 8th was Elizabeth. Maybe she did it.
Note to self. This would be a good question to ask Titus. Where's the 8th man? A leader like Titus doesn't let one of his guys out of sight easily, especially at a time like this.
I'm guessing that's the skinny Hardy boy. The one with his front teeth missing. Yes, well, he did look a bit like a rat, you're right. Do you think those prints belong to him? I could still be wrong, but I'm probably not. 200. This could be the combined weight of two people, one carrying the other who's tied up. Let's say a heavily built worker carrying a similarly built armored man. Maybe it was a fat hardy boy, the one sitting in the middle.
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
Possibly, yes.
But why?
Yes, they could have used a makeshift stretcher or just march him up to the gallows.
Maybe the carrier wanted to impress his peers, demonstrate his physical might.
You mean a display of athletic ability meant to belittle the victim? A local champion carrying the intruder alone? I can see it. Anyway, the others? Interesting. Let's name it the Old Soul. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the missing hardy boy. Wonder who he is. Someone operating a workbench with a pedal? Like a joiner at the harbor. Or maybe a drummer?
He regrets it the moment he says it.
I don't know why I said that. We are not looking for a drummer. We are looking for a group of dock workers.
The lieutenant clearly appreciates the chance to clear up the drummer issue himself.
Perhaps it could be a driver. A driver would wear out their right shoe before the left. The accelerator is on the right. We should keep our eyes open around the traffic jam. See whether anyone strikes out as a potential suspect. Seems prudent, no?
Mm-hmm.
A week, maybe? 7 days would fit the time frame provided to us by the caller, who reported the hanging.
Ah, okay. So, shit. Okay, so my character doesn't know this, but I got it now. The tracks that I couldn't decipher when I was trying to come in, and now this shoe belonging to a driver, that definitely adds up. That adds up. But my character doesn't know about the tracks or whatever because I failed that test or check. Okay, well, yeah, I appreciate you stopping by, and I appreciate the lurks, and, yeah, eat something delicious.
It is not impossible.
I pulled last week's forecast for coastal Havashol. 7 days below freezing. The day before, the day of his hanging, was the last warm day.
Correct again. Sub-zero temperatures would preserve the tracks in a good state. The commotion here could have taken place a week ago.
What do I think? A mob of people brought something heavy to the tree. One of them was carrying the victim. They shuffled around, especially under the tree. Then, after hoisting him up, they stood in a semicircle facing his direction. At first glance, this appears to be a lynching.
Indeed. They all stood in a row here and looked at the tree.
So far, so good. Only one thing missing.
Of course, there were 8 tracks, but there are only 7 hardy boys.
There's one pair missing from the Union box. The 8th pair. I'm going to say it was our Old Soul. Yes, I doubt the Hardys are going to tell us who this person is. For now, it's best if we just keep our eyes open. I'm sure our investigation will eventually lead us to the Old Soul. What do you see?
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and white boots.
Of course. You have questions, don't you? Come back later.
The material, delicate, these are clearly not boots. They're armor. Possibly...
Indeed, ceramic plate under the heel. Fair weather. Fair weather.
The cadaver slowly twists. The hangman... This is a...
Airlifting. I thought it was used on... The local harbor uses 6 rotors to shuffle containers around. I get the sense they use... Right now, everything seems to fit their confession.
The cadaver hangs. An intricate web of blue lines stretches his eye, dark brown. Underneath the curdled meat there is an expression. Not carried.
Why do you think so? Okay.
The corpse looks right through you as you narrow. This is a trick. Only the lower extremities are pink.
I see it.
The monster.
So what do you think?
But there is no
Fuck, does Kuno care? Kuno...
I'll die before I squeal, pig. Stay away from me, pig! You don't want to see what happens when you corner me. I'll die before I squeal. What's this?
Get the fuck out of it!
I'll die before I You don't want to fuck with me. I got my hands bloody. I'm not here, pig. You're not seeing this.
You can still see the top of her hat from behind the fence. An old call box. East Delta Commerce Center. This must be the name of the doomed commercial area.
I've got nothing to say to you. What?
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here. Again. Just
Good one, Titus.
about fucking. What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy Boy, there's 7 of us and we're all here. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy Boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
This person Glenn wants to hire, he really respects her.
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you want, cop?
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy Boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. End. You're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head. I'm watching you.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
There's no point in pushing it further, he thinks. This is already a victory. We'll learn more about this 8th Hardy sooner or later.
I've got nothing to say to you. Why I am not.
You could be, Liz. You could be anything. You could even be a model.
Even a mod? Glenn, I went to law school. I am an attorney.
He's right. With a face like that, she could be on the cover of Le Debutante International. The cold look in her eyes speaks louder than words. She is not amused. It's not her. She's not a Hardy girl. Definitely.
Lowman, you caught me at an opportune moment.
Right to work!
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you? The little boy had it good on his promise. To get me into trouble. To sick the pigs on me. Pardon the choice of words. Not mine.
What happened?
I was asked to look into that armor situation. Official Union probe, you know. Track it down, see who took it.
Did you?
At first I thought, why not? Maybe the pieces can feed the strike. Buy us a few more days under the sun, you know? So I went to this boy. He said he'll make me his prison bitch. He's got eyes everywhere, and the cops in his pocket, and he's the king of Jamrock. Serves me right for doing menial footwork. I dropped that probe right then and there, and it still got me into trouble. One bad move is all it takes. I learned that people don't want to talk to a drunk Union man about some armor.
What else?
Not much. Technical stuff mostly. That was the interesting part. It's a minor nuisance. It's all good. I did some research into this armadura. Let's say I have friends at the library. I didn't get into the material science, just how it comes off.
How does it come off?
In parts. 4 in total. The helmet was the first to go. The kid says he tore it off and kicked it into the sea. I believe him. The boots were still on the guy last I saw. Too hard to remove. So, as I count, there are 2 parts missing. The gauntlets and the cuirass. This is where I left off. Too much hassle. More like a job for some militia. Oh, they're just gone. They don't exist anymore, if they ever did at all. Forget about them. I did.
All of it? There are junior officers out there, eager to prove themselves. I would leave some for them, but okay. Let's find all of it.
It's implied. He finds it unlikely that you will succeed in this.
And Mesqui's epic then, all across Martinez. I hope it will be a real bonanza for you. No problem. If you see that kid, thank him from Call Me Mañana. Thank him for showing me the way.
He is sincerely grateful. He is not tracking down pieces of armor right now.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
Reality? You mean, what reality? Economic reality, or...?
She is like a student unexpectedly called upon by a teacher. Can she answer the classroom question?
I don't know. What about it?
We're in for it? As mankind, or as a nation, or...
What will her essay prompt be?
In a good place.
I mean, science is doing great, and this radio computer thing seems to be kinda big. I don't know. We're in for it? As man...
What will her essay...
We're in a transition. You know, transitioning from, monarchy to democracy, all that stuff.
We're in Frit as mankind.
What will her essay?
We're in Revachol, like on the Insulindian Isola. That wasn't very hard. I don't know. Look at the clock.
The clock shows the time at 10:09. The hands seem to be still. It's apparent the clock doesn't work.
When ordinary people take over the government and demand democracy. Yeah, it happened like 50 years ago or so. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. At history, I mean. Our government? Or do you mean something else? Sorry, I really need to finish this article. Cool.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo.
Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something.
The tear machine stands in the... Your bottles clunk into the...
Looking for something, Rod? Come to tell me to fuck off again?
You could push him by asking him to show you the soles of his boots. He definitely looks like someone capable of a lynching.
Been admiring the stompers, right? For sure, I can demonstrate them.
On the bottom of the man's boots, you see an intricate tangle of treads with no immediately discernible pattern.
It's Revachol. You'll see when the time comes, officer. True patriots carry Revachol in their very souls.
Technically, you're stomping on Revachol every step you take.
Huh. I know you people don't understand poetry.
You see several packaged raincoats fill a colorful display of cigarettes.
Again, I'm obliged to inform you that both alcohol and cigarettes damage your health.
Several maps. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map. This large ozone disintegrating in the northeast. A dust mite stands on you can. Lost 800 of the ocean connections to other. You have little eye. Perhaps they are gods. Gods of distance and out. The north to the east. Hudon. It's so small. No, this is somewhere to be.
I'm sorry, they're quite valuable, though they might not look it. The map of Martinez is 90 cents, though. Yes, are you interested or not? I'm sorry, they're quite that old, from when some...
The place does not look like a successful tourist trap, does it?
They didn't get that far.
This bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. There's also a shelves full of browsing through suddenly high speed next to
I really...
she understands.
I'm sorry, I did not mean...
Browsing through sudden high next
I really...
she understands.
I'm sorry.
Shelves filled to the brim with crime novels featuring the a heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in a small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. An intricate web of blue. It still kind of looks like a map of the star. The greatest innocence. Browsing through the book again, you still have trouble. Your educational survey is done. Did you catch any? It seems rather unfair to try again after you already know the answers. But sure, if this makes you... Oh yeah, this is what I was made for. Correct. As the question easy. Everybody knows the answer to. Correct. Named the innocence of militarism. He codified Franco Negro. Question 3. Got it under control. No problem. Solid on this one. It's widespread historical information. Incorrect. Stepan the Despicable, regent of Kedra, was a ruler who conquered the known world during the Kedriat. Correct. The most final... I've got it. Honest. Correct. Everything. Congrats. And A. You really navigated, but endless tries are. The worn map features your finger. Finally.
For a more detailed view of the...
The face of King Freecell smiles at you. For some reason, the smile now strikes you as unsurprised. You skim. Finally, one of the editor. You flip back to the front. You skim. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Cape Side Apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. According to these editorials, there can be no... Why do communists love puerile insults? And they wonder why they're always being left out in the cold. Judging from the context, it's something very large and fundamental. You should probably know about it already, honestly. You flip back to the front of the... It's just a racist mug. What's there to... A cockatoo is a parrot. This book talks about the delicate nature of twos, as well as some kind of superstar. They say the world isn't ready for a rock and roll cop. No one wants their state monopoly on violence to be mixed with celebrity worship they claim to know It would be dangerous for detectives to rise to the ranks of demigods and have sexual encounters with barely legal cover girls. It would be insane, they say. To all this, you say, fuck off and die, in a cool voice. You people have no idea how good these cops are gonna get. They're gonna crack 20 cases a day. In the future, cops will be like astrophysicists, or prime ministers, or prophets. And you're the first one.
Superstar. I have -1 logic, the price of self-delusion. But the rest of those are pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, learning cap. That's amazing. I didn't know like what the bonuses would be when I selected this, but I'm glad I did. That's pretty cool. You can see like how they went up. Like this went up to what, 7? Yeah, and this one went up to 6. Oh, that is so cool. I need to put something into composure. I really do. And suggestion. Those are my goals for the next ones. Composure and suggestion. Alright, yeah, so I have to talk to Kuno again. Okay, so go to the car, talk to Kuno. I could probably do this right now.
Yes? What do you want to know? What's there to say? It's just stupidity. The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Typical street gang mentality. So we've let the Union make a mockery of law enforcement here, and now it's come to its natural conclusion. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. It's an orphan district, in other words. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite the brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off. But I assure you, I am not their finest or toughest with 102 cases solved. What I am is least interested in a pissing competition. Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get here. North of the interchange doesn't exist. A good joke.
He does not actually think it was a good joke.
It's good we set this thing aside. Was there anything else you wanted to ask about the competition? If not, yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it.
He's actually glad it's addressed now.
Oh, man. I got the -1 logic for my super cop. Oh, let me see about my abilities. Hang on, wait, leave for now. Not my abilities, my, items, clothes, whatever. Alright, so now it says +1 logic. Right. Well, I mean, I guess I'm already wearing something that's +1, but I don't have anything else that I can put on. What is -1 authority? Why is that? I don't like that. What is giving me -1 authority? Oh, the thing giving me +1 logic. Huh. Well, I need to take these off when I talk to Titus to establish my authority. But I need these on to talk to Kim. Okay, so let me switch those for now. Let me get my authority back up.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Sir, officer. What's the number? And the make of the armor, if you know it. Got it. I'll contact the ICP database immediately. Call back tomorrow. Hopefully they'll have dug up something useful by then.
The International Collaboration Police, ICP, is an inter-Isoleri law enforcement service, the crown jewel in the moral intern diadem, alongside EPIS and the coalition government.
No, and I doubt they'll get back to me before tomorrow morning. Anything else? 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see a... You see a set of tire tracks in the...
Fuck does Kuno care? So? Fuck, okay. Kuno's a giver like that, yes?
Kuno sent your fat ass running around like Jello!
Look, pig. Kuno sent you to rough some people up. Kuno played you. That happened. Now you and Kuno should move on.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's what Kuno said. Don't be saying what Kuno said back to Kuno. Get the fuck out of here, Patterson Kuno. After this shit, you better have something real interesting to say if you want to stay in Kuno's face.
Yeah, real interesting.
Kuno doesn't fucking care.
Hang on. So what should I do now?
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here.
Give me a moment.
It's really hard to like tell where these things actually are because they just kind of give you like a general sense.
We are still waiting for a replacement for the bull you sent sinking. Yes, the Debardeurs Union pays me to stand vigil during the nights. Not out of any political allegiance, mind you. I'm an old man. Don't sleep more than a few hours every night anyway, and money is tight.
He feels like he has to justify himself for some reason.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. Been on a 2-week leave since last Monday. It's a private matter. Nothing to do with your investigation.
You see, officer, René is the kind of man would rather die than admit he needs medical assistance or, God forbid, sick it. A real man's man is just gonna ride it out.
I'm fine, goddammit. Mind your own business. It's nothing. Just got to cut back on coffee. No one. The boss has been unmanned since last Monday. There's no other guard. It's just me.
No one has been guarding the container yard since last Monday?
Yes. It's not actually an issue. I mean...
Look, officers. The container yard doesn't actually need a guardsman. Never had one before René. Monsieur Claire had that booth built specially for him. It's mostly decorative.
The possibility of someone being in there is enough to discourage any ill-minded individuals.
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the Royal Carabiniers' pension of honor and PTSD isn't something a man can live off. A decorated Kingsman collecting tear reflects bad on the whole neighborhood. His words.
Yes. Can we conclude the topic of my guard boost now?
He is not going to become an entrepreneur.
Yes, it does. And no one.
No one?
Yes.
Look, officers. Evrard created this job for René because he...
It's not charity. Not to me. Up there, I give it all I got. Yes, it's a... I'm fine. No one.
No.
Yeah.
Look, officers. Evrard created this job for René because he... Oh, I didn't mean to...
Yes.
He is not going to become an...
She is nobody. This is none of your concern, and I refuse to discuss my private affairs with the RCM.
The lady is Jeanne-Marie Beaulieu, and she sure as hell wasn't a nobody.
Yes. Like I said, I would be up anyway, so might as well keep an eye out. It keeps my senses sharp. Ah, yes! King Philip III on his steed. A reminder of what Revachol once was.
Oh, absolutely. At the mercy of a cocaine-snorting tyrant who emptied the treasury so he could sleep on a bed of gold.
A superpower, feared and respected. A testament to what this country can be under the leadership of a true king. Someone who knows how to rule. Decisively, without fear of offending the sensibilities of the frail and weak-minded among his subjects. This is something the insurgents never understood. A nation is only as strong as its leader. That's why it was such madness to try to...
Don't get started on that again. What happened, happened.
The carabiner doesn't reply, but his entire being communicates unbreakable resolve.
Oh, old Philip was a big fan of the purple nose candy the nobility loved so much. A cocaine connoisseur of sorts. His egocentricity is borderline legendary.
You can't even take responsibility for yourself. How could you fathom the responsibility weighing on the shoulders of a ruler? That's why the Philippian kings use cocaine, for clarity of vision, to aid in their work. Regnum cocainum, Revishal's finest years.
Of course. Clarity of vision. Awareness.
Philip III was even brought into this world with the help of cocaine. The court made him administer the dose to his mother when she was in labor, and it is well known that with the help of cocaine, only the purest, of course, he was able to connect with higher realms.
Higher realms. Of course, it all makes sense. He's just making excuses for the king's habits, isn't he?
From what I've seen of the officers of the RCM... but I don't want to get into a debate about drug policies. Right.
Now it's turning into a kind of a snow limbo, man. What's on your mind? What? But I told you she's my friend. Please don't make me give her up, detective. Get someone else. There's a ton of drivers here. Thank you, friend. Wow, this makes me feel like I should pick up smoking again.
I don't... Like, okay, other than these checks being what they are right now, like, all the different ones that I have, I don't know what else, like, I'm really supposed to be doing. There's only so much, like, there's just so little to do at the moment. I don't get it.
The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when Lieutenant Kitsuragi is gone.
Well, how do I make him gone, man?
Everything's still cool here, officer.
See, like, even that's not a lot. Like, I'm really I'm afraid that, like, if I don't find a solution to this, I'm just gonna start save scumming. I don't care.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps. The boomboxes wait on the shelves, and your boombox, that gold and...
Officer, the flashlight, please. Hello again. How can I help you? The Coldima Madakwa? Sorry, I would never have guessed that you were that interested in ultrasonic sounds. Or birds, for that matter. That's fair. It's been a long time since my Coldima Madakwa hunting days. Once knew a group of young musicians who decided they didn't want to play music anymore and started looking for all kinds of interesting sounds instead. Cool or not, one of them was obsessed with recording the Coldima Madakwa, and he was one of those passionate people who know a lot about all kinds of strange things. So he got the rest of us to join in his search. We thought we did. We got together all these recordings of unusual sound patterns, compared them, cut them up and combined them into the Symphonia Coldima Madakwa. Unfortunately, I don't have any recordings from my old life. None at all. But I do have a tape with some ultrasonic sounds that might be what you're looking for.
Do we really have time for this?
This recording comes from down the coast. Wasn't looking to record anything specific. Just left a recording device there one morning. Keep in mind, I have to slow this one down enough to make sounds well over 200 kilohertz audible to the human ear. It will be strange.
As the hum grows louder, modulating but always unnaturally uncomfortably low, like it's coming not from the speakers, but also from inside your chest. Breathing is becoming difficult. Not good, not good. You're about to start suffocating. You have to stop this. There's a growing sense of dread. The sound is coming from inside you, but also surrounding you. It feels as though someone is standing just outside your range of vision and watching you, doing this to you. He nods to you, reassuringly, just as more diverse, higher-pitched sounds, some random, some appearing to form patterns, hit your eardrums. Seabirds most likely, gulls and such.
And skewers, but
A low range of sounds is easier to handle with a focal point, but still troubling. You are mesmerized by the sounds, but also feel nausea welling up as the motif continues, then begins to recede, dissolving in what must be the sound of water lapping at the bank.
You know, now that I've listened to it on these new speakers, it's not the cold Imamadakwa. Wrong patterns, wrong photons. Probably some insect trying to sing higher than its predators can hear. Still, fascinating, aren't they? Early morning sounds. Sure, let me have a look. Oh, no. I don't like those kinds of objects. No sale. Aphotic paths, counter-radiance networks, anti-magnetism. It's darkness. That's all I know. Sell me something lighter.
You have absolutely no idea what aphotic paths are, but the tattoos on the man are not that.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of papers hanging from the board.
Okay, so let me see. This thing, holding this thing gives me +2 Inland Empire, +1 Empathy, and -2 Authority. Okay, so this is good when I don't need Authority. So, like, for Empathy, right? So, figuring out what's going on with someone. Like that one cool driver and the kid. But it's only +1. I don't know. So Inland Empire. Yeah, it gives me +1 Inland Empire, +1 Empathy, -2 Authority. Okay.
The boomboxes wait on the shelves. And your boombox, that gold and amber Harmon Waushi, stares at you longingly with its tape-reel eyes. You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed.
Okay, so let me see. Hang on. I can put on my gloves. Wait, do I already have them on? No. Interfacing. Yeah, these ones. Put these on. Let me see.
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table.
Come
Some
back
on
later.
horseback, others in rags. The boomboxes wait.
And here you are.
I'm guessing that'll come in handy later.
A crumpled billboard reading, Samaran butter soaks in the canal. 2 ugly lines mar the bright countenance of the blonde boy depicted. Whatever it is, the boy on the billboard seems very happy about it. Goat milk butter. The Samaran terrain makes it easier to raise goats than cows, and the local goat farmers produce high-quality meat and dairy staples that add variety to other nations' diets. It's an acquired taste.
I should have something here that adds to What the hell was it? Is it already on? Am I already wearing it? Visual calculus. Yeah, okay. Alright, I'll try it. I mean, it's 83. I'll try it.
A crumpled billboard reading, Samaran, judging by the size of the impact and the parallel lines of burnt rubber, the cause was probably a motor vehicle. Side slip marks indicated that the vehicle was traveling up the crater at 35 kilometers an hour. The black marks on the roof indicate that the vehicle vaulted from the crater to the roof of the shack. The panel served as a takeoff ramp. The vehicle soared through the air, hitting the billboard and upsetting the posts. Then it continued its flight, taking the billboard with it. The sign broke the vehicle's fall into the canal. The Samaran Butter billboard still looks freshly painted, suggesting it took the plunge recently, within the past 72 hours. Still speeding, the vehicle made a loop and vanished into the fog along the coast. There are two good candidates, the Caprice 40 and the Linéaire G22. It's about the right size, and the tire marks look like they came from the skinny tires frequently found on that motor carriage. The Caprice 40 is a very popular model, with bank clerks, topping pie delivery drivers, secondary school teachers, cops, strippers dressed as cops, undressed strippers. Very sturdy but light motor carriage, more likely than most to survive that jump. The Linéaire G22 is not a particularly popular model due to its peculiar proportions, which the manufacturer's design team probably thought about for too long. You'd have to follow the tracks to be sure. The lieutenant looks on, waiting for you to wrap up your analysis.
Any theories about what happened here? What kind of car do you think it was? That's quite likely, from what I can tell. Oh. The traffic hooliganism? I hope not. Fortunately, we are not traffic cops. Should we get back to the murder?
I don't think I can come back to this. This feels like a one-off. So I'm gonna try the conceptualization.
Somewhere in the depths of your alcohol-addled soul, you find a few threads
That's
that
awesome
you
that I
can
beat
weave
it.
into a story.
Got it.
The tip-top tourney champion?
The lieutenant patiently listens to the words coming from your mouth.
Jumping canals at night? If I was Jacob Irv, I wouldn't drive in Martinez. The roads are awful. In conclusion, it's a colorful theory, but I don't believe Jacob Irv did this. Should we go? If we must.
I'm not expecting him to get far with this, the lieutenant consoles himself. A rusting control panel with loose wires. This panel usually closes the... You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft clunk. Then nothing happens. Nothing happens. A cold A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the water lock. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality?
I'm afraid if I just like keep pushing it harder and harder, it will break and I won't be able to do it.
The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime, officer. 100% guaranteed.
Abort. These are hideous.
Damn, officer!
No, you're
I'm back for a bit.
Are you sure? But they look so good on you.
These are all boring. Boring third-rate ho-hum
Hey,
sunglasses
Sid. Welcome
made of
back.
cheap Syrahese plastic. The kind of plastic that melts in the sun. Those UV stickers are almost certainly...
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, super material, very cool. You keep coming back.
Save the economy? That sounds off.
Haven't you heard, officer? We've got to be economically conscious. Recycle your cash, keep it in circulation. Don't buy new things. Buy eco. Look around, officer. You see all these premium goods just sitting there, not getting bought? We've got to keep the flow of goods moving. Is this really the economy we want to leave to our children? That's the spirit. We've all got to do our part. Your part is to open the box and buy some clothes.
The speakers below are banged up and worthless. The sneakers triumph over them. They're the star of the show here.
Yes? Excuse me? Detective, if I may be frank, you seem to be in a deranged state. You have trouble remembering things. You've misplaced your badge. I cannot let you act in the name of the RCM without supervision until you've regained control of your faculties. Some you time? This is a police investigation, not a journey of self-discovery. You'll still have your evenings to yourself.
A moment passes. The lieutenant glances at the sports watch on his wrist. You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic.
Fuck does Kuno care? Kuno doesn't...
East Delta Commerce Center? This must be the name of the doomed commercial area.
Now it's turning into a kind of a snow limbo, man. What's on your mind?
For a second, I thought there was some other background noises on your game, and then I realized it's my neighbor outside talking to someone.
Looking for something odd? Come to tell me to fuck off?
A lorry stuck. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can...
Lowman, you caught me at an opportunity.
An old monument. A silver plaque.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn into the cop that does whatever needs to be done. So that means I'm gonna go fuck with this guy and make him tell me.
Now it's turning into a kind of a snow limbo, man.
Actually, let me try the empathy thing first. Hang on a second. But I might have to save Scum.
Now it's turning into a kind of a...
In his eyes, an unfamiliar longing. Flecks of brown and gold. It's hard to say. His gaze wanders southwest, down the street that goes beyond the horizon.
Excuse me? Man, I don't know what to say. Not much anyone can do. There's no helping in absence, you know? I miss my family. They're all I have. My wife, second kid on the way, waiting all the way in Diora. And here I am stuck in this shit, so far from home. Diora of the Seven Seas. It's on the other end of Le Caillou, pretty much, on another island called Laurentide, off mainland. We've got a little place there. Can almost hear my kid laugh when it snows. What's it like? Good. And bad. An ache that brings you joy. I think of them a lot. I dream up these silly scenarios in great detail of living with them. It comforts me. What about you, cop man? You missing someone?
Is that what it is? This feeling? No, it's scarier than that. You're pursued by a hunter, smelling of apricots and sorrow, and the past.
I hate to bounce, but I'ma hop off stream. Hope the rest of your stream goes well and we'll chat with you later.
Alright, well thank you so much. It's okay that you gotta leave. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it, Sin. I read what you sent me, and I'll respond a little later when I'm done, here.
I
No
feel for you,
worries.
my friend.
Take care.
It's bad enough to know who you miss. Missing
You
like that doesn't
too.
feel like it has
Enjoy your
much of an
day.
upside. But, thanks for this. It's nice to talk to someone, and I know it wasn't easy to ask. I hope you find your way through your own troubles.
Okay, so that was actually pretty successful. That didn't go bad. So I'm just gonna go ahead and save right here. Oops, and then I'm gonna
Now it's turning into a
ask about the
kind
driver.
of a snow limp. What? But I told you she's my friend. Please don't make me give her up, detective. Get someone else. There's a ton of drivers here. Fine. I don't want to be a butcher. And I don't want to be a knight either. I just want to be a person who can sleep at night. A little fame wouldn't hurt too. You're not going to put a bullet in your head if you blow it, are you? Because she's on the edge, man.
Imagine it, an explosion of stars. Goodbye world of men, money, and machines.
I'm just trying to think about, like, if this is just like a personal, like, player moral thing, and there's no actual consequence, like, in the game per se. Because as far as, like, player moral choice, I don't give a fuck. I'll force Tommy. I don't care. But if it hurts me more than helps me, I don't want to do it, as far as the game goes. Let's see what happens.
I thought you were a different kind of cop.
The realization that you've used his friendliness and goodwill for your own ends.
Here. Mallory's still here. Down past the statue of Philippe. The cabin is green. You can get in there with these. That's all I know.
When did she leave?
Last Friday. No. I don't know. She left them to me. Because she trusted me. So I can get it out of the way when the jam breaks loose. Otherwise...
The other drivers would have to tow it or break in to get the machines moving.
If they break in, they would find what's hidden inside. Something incriminating.
I bet you are.
And he's sorry he couldn't be what he wants to be. A good person. His last line, his revenge on the world.
Nah. I need to think my own thoughts now. Pray forgiveness for my sins. Go check your cabin. I hope it gets you something. Help someone.
This screen found A to Z, Contemporain, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
This is the one our man pointed to.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of the seat and 2 steering levers. It feels like you're peeking into someone's home residence. Inside it's private, cozy, warm, dusty too. The door is locked. The handle looks... You push the key into the lock and turn. It makes a cracking sound. Then the door pops back a few centimeters. The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye, a centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. The actress is draped in a sheath dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past the camera. A feeling of tenderness washes over you. A longing even, perhaps, and gentle tragedy. This is Tip Tijon, a starlet from the dawn of cinematography, less known for her talent than her tragic, untimely death. She wasted away in a drug den called the Door to the River, not far from here, on Boogie Street, a mixture of cocaine and morphine. She was afraid of the world, and the camera, too. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard, and a toolbox sits under the driver's seat. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation, with quite a range too. Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without a dial key.
The smell of 1,000... You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique? Yes?
Do the honors, he thinks. Connect it yourself.
Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. Now we know for certain who's the missing 8th person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation?
Yeah, see, like this... Okay, so actually forcing him to tell me, that's definitely... It wasn't the hardship in gameplay, it was definitely just one of those, like, player moral things. Yeah, no, fuck that dude's friendship. Give me what I need to know so I can get on with this fucking game.
Understood. We should still go and see what Titus has got to say on the matter. Are we finished with the lorry?
The movie stars are still smiling from the wall. A metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's an issue of Périphérique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency system.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
The pull-out tool slides back into its nest. It closed the rusty...
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce? All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of
like the
stations
dude that they
it can connect.
killed, maybe...
Looks like this alleged drug trade gas.
Maybe like he was trying to stop it or get into the works of it or something. Because, I mean, obviously it's tied into the union as well. I mean, you see, that was really important. That was a really huge connection because now it connects the drug trade to the union workers. And if I didn't force him to tell me, I wouldn't have gotten that.
This means it's well funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it.
I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. And last but not least, it looks like the Hardy Boys knew this driver, as we know that she was present at the lynching. This may be the Union connection we've been searching for.
The probe and the case converged, he thinks. This was quite the find.
Like Joyce told us, yes, logistically. But don't expect to bust this open during our stay here. At best, this is an angle we can use against them, to other ends, as extra ammunition. As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade. Yes, well...
Unimportant.
As elegant as they are. Yes, well...
Unimportant.
As elegant... I'm going to say no. We should return to the murder case. See what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation. Sometime later, when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. Especially if the Madrid grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Debrief over. After you.
Before I go to them, I want to go to Joyce. I'm gonna return to Joyce first.
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. It's coin slot.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologise for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this.
One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout, most likely. That would give them a read on the entire quarter.
In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
The lieutenant is about to interject. Cut him off. This decision should be yours. Exactly. But what?
Okay. I thank you for sharing that much with me. My employer thanks you as well. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands.
The words bloodbath sound cold in her mouth. They taste of iron and strawberries.
I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenell, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the Colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenell contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. It's not good, no. My only hope is that you provide a single concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good, and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
They would have to project strength and power.
The débardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant?
The Serai's giant hornet, the world's second largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all. As I said, a bloodbath. Too many things have already gone wrong. Nameless, badgeless detective of the Citizens Militia. All we can do is keep that which is not from following suit. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients. Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eendracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities.
What the hell is a fourth world country?
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors. Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands. Countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. I wouldn't go as far as to use that term, detective.
It's the expression she objects to?
Yes.
She picked a strange hill to die on. Strike. She's silent.
What is the purpose of this, detective?
Paramilitary death squad is a bit rich. But yes, were it up to me, I would have at least vetted them more thoroughly. I wouldn't go as far as to use that term, detective.
It's the expression she objects to? She's silent.
What is the purpose of this, detective?
Paramilitary death squad is a bit rich. I wouldn't go...
It's the expression.
Sadly, no. If you still...
Do you know a lot about the inner work?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenell. I have. And they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us, yes.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. The remaining contractors, their tribunal. It's what they believe, that the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him.
It's probably that woman I was talking to in the very, very, very first, beginning of the game. That went into her room, and I knocked on the door, and she didn't answer. And now I think she's standing on the roof. Like, whenever I go in the area, you can see a woman standing on the roof. I think that's her.
That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea.
But I don't know how to
said,
get on
it's
the
a
roof
rumor
to talk to her.
About a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe.
You'll meet her soon enough, you feel.
If you mean did I see him alive, yes. But I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face. Then...
I can't remember.
The lieutenant was testing her, asking a small detail first to see if she knew him better than she let on. She passed.
That's all right, ma'am. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age, or gauge his facial expressions.
What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting.
Vigilantes. You're a professional officer of the only legitimate authority in Revachol.
Somehow, I doubt that lecturing them on the legitimate use of force will persuade them to stand down. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
This is so embarrassing. You have no idea. There's something wrong with your brain. Luckily, the lieutenant still has his.
Ma'am, with all due respect, I've been around Martinez, and there's a giant hulk of a man in ill-fitting clothes at the harbor gates. Mr. Right to Work. His heart really isn't in it.
Not a terribly good actor, that one. Still.
And the other one, the Pole, must be in one of the 4-story buildings overlooking the roundabout. She was reporting back to you while we were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That would afford a good vantage point. Still, I hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob, and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask.
She reaches for the photo, takes it, then holds it in her hand for about half a minute in silence.
It was taken with a Trigette not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century. Over 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it.
Where is he now?
That is precisely what the sailors feared when they drew these maps. A fear of drowning within one's own corpse. Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Semines Islands, then this. Revachol. Those are the two constants. Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Interinsulary Age.
The old world passing by, and the new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning. His platoon members? The other contractors, though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade.
Surely there are other people to ask about the tattoo. This is not necessary to complete the task, officer. It's a dangerous side task. Search elsewhere.
I mean, I could always put it on the schedule, right? Like, accept the task, the side quest, and not do it if I don't want to. But, I get some really good information. I think it's dangerous because of the skill checks that are going to be needed. Obviously, I won't know which ones will be needed. I'll accept it, though.
Do what you have to do,
Because just
detective.
because I accept doesn't mean I
don't
have to
think
do it.
deciphering that tattoo
But
should
I
come
love a
before
challenge
public
anyways.
security. But if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you.
We will be careful, ma'am.
Is there anything else I can help you with? This reality? No, but please, a little context. We're not in such a hurry.
We have time for you to tell me why you need a reality lowdown.
Ah, yes. The episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy, now that I think of it.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
We're in Martinez, baby. A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, pay it no heed. Aren't we all?
She refers to your corresponding ages.
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year. I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. As I told you, Martinez used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its part. Now the reeds are the real star of the show here. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets. It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol, and the bay feeds into the ocean. Yes, we're on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the Blue Immensities. Vast, lukewarm and unknowable, flowing in and out of sight.
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the River Esperance. We're in the delta of this river, on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her. And to humanity at large.
Revachol? The great kind.
As if it's self-explanatory, beyond patriotism, a fact.
History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries.
We built this city with rock and roll.
The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Semenine and Ile Marat, depending on your creed. In the DeLorean century, 380 years ago. They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological conflicts. The stuff of men. We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is. Oh, we're quite a way off. About 22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the Bank of the World building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government, Insulindian Mission Command.
Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. There is no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it.
We are where we are. I have no truer answer to give, unfortunately.
This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask, about even more fundamental aspects of reality. Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am, Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
Of course not. You are already diligent for getting this far, and diligent boys remember where they left off.
Indeed. I'm always at your service. These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late. For the big time. The revolution. It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle. Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head.
As it should be, even in the real world.
She's not gloating. It's a relieved celebration.
Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed. Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people. Yes, the Red Deluge. The Insulindian Deluge, they call it. Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad. Which one? Actually, it doesn't matter. King Guillaume has always been my favorite. He could smell a PR disaster brewing. So he got out alive, and his nephew, Frisell, got shot in his place. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time. The liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective. Or the remaining gentry. The beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras, or ultra-liberals. They fared well. They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember?
We. She's one of them. Of course.
To foreign intervention. The coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the people. The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-le-Clay. The armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do.
Good luck out there, 47. That's exactly what she sounds like. It just hit me. As I'm listening to her, she sounds like Diana from Hitman. That's exactly who she sounds like. It might be the same voice actor. I don't know. I'm not claiming that. I'm just saying it sounds like her.
There is bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding. She is critical, but ultimately understands the cause.
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government. This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
I don't think I understand exactly what they're saying. What? I don't know, whatever, I'll go with it.
A devout man of the center. Hard to come by. It's good to have someone who takes a moderate approach to head shooting. In your line of work, I mean.
Listen, I ain't against shooting anybody in the head. I just want to put that out there, okay? So don't get that twisted about me, lady. But that don't mean I'm saying just do it willy-nilly.
The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end nearly the whole world had gotten involved. It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Marzolf came along and overthrew the government. It made people overthrow their governments. Of course not. It was a highly infectious
Besides, I don't even have.
microorganism
I
that
don't,
destroyed brain
like,
tissue.
the dude doesn't even have his
The
gun.
actual causes of the
Like, one of my
revolution were
objectives
material.
is to find my gun, if
Pandemic
I can
only
even find
provided
it.
a
I guess you
spark.
can. I don't know if you can, actually. But I guess you can. I'm supposed to find my gun, supposed to find my badge. I don't even have my fucking gun. So yeah, lady. I mean, I couldn't even do it right now if I wanted to. Because, my character lost his gun as part of the story prior to even starting the game.
From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Marzolf's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end. Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have that necktie? A pair of pants?
No doubt. But we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think. A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the Coalition of Nations. And you, of course, the citizens' militia.
The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill. Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage.
The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune. Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-eastlery communication, telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Time flies. The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. '08 to 19 was simply hell. The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere. No, it was a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easing. The 40s dispelled it like a cold splash, an Isla-wide hangover, you might say. And here we are. Welcome to reality, baby.
From the looks of it, the 50s haven't been much better for the zone of control. You can see it in her eyes. Days slipping away.
I've no right to be dissatisfied. This shirt is Barbara Muscova, this raincoat is impervious to rain and is guaranteed for 100 years. My daughters will wear it. No, it's just... we could have had so much more. Every one of us. If only we played it right. Good question. What would you have done differently? And I asked you, past-less detective of the citizens' militia, what insight has acute encephalopathy given to you?
I'm not sure exactly what the, I'm guessing, like, if I pick this, right, I would have killed more, 400 million, if that's what it took. I'm assuming that means killing communists, right? I'm not sure, though. I mean, because if it means kill communists, kill 400 more, 400 million more. Yeah, I don't care. Kill 400 million more communists. Who gives a shit? But I don't know if that's what it means. I don't know. I don't know.
Then you would have died, most likely.
Alright.
Not far from here. Maybe even right here, during the beachhead, defending the coast the day the Coalition took the city. Good. Not that it would have mattered. In the end, the commune forced everyone.
Let me see
to
what
the
she
ballot
says.
with question.
I need to know.
I see. A tenth of humanity. The key of history is in the lock. Keep turning at any cost.
Yeah, at all costs.
Past. That's what De Briever, the leader of the Communards, said before she got a bullet in her head. Don't get me wrong. Capital is finished. But understand this. Its end won't free anyone. It will only lead to more suffering.
I don't know, like, if that means at any cost, the humanity-free age of capital is passed. I don't know if that means, like, if that is, like, a pro-communist thing. It didn't sound like it. Like, would you do it at any cost, right? Like, would you kill 400 million more communists? You know, basically that means any cost.
Opinions expressed here.
Some of these
do
choices
not
are really
reflect the official position
confusing.
of the RCM.
And what is your official position, Lieutenant?
My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir.
Understandable.
To help me
Good
better
question.
understand.
I see. A tenth
Let
of
me see.
humanity. The key of history is in the lock.
So
Keep
maybe
turning
this
at any
does
cost.
seem to get rid of, like, or to be more enthusiastic for capital. I don't know, but like until it's crushed, right? Like that's almost the same thing. I don't want it to be mine. I don't care about that. And the age of man is old. Like I don't even know what this option means until the middle class, the gentry, and all the workers are all gone. I don't. That's probably a communist answer. But let's see what this does.
Forever. In 20 years, Revachol went from a king to a commune to a zone of control. She is forever. But the next thing she will be is something else.
What the fuck that damage my morale for? What the fuck?
Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the...
And what?
My position...
Understandable. They are what... Anyway.
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.
It's a neurological disorder caused by a lack of vitamin B in the brain. Symptoms include a retrograde amnesia. It's quite serious. You should get yourself checked out.
She conveys it in short, cold bursts, trying not to invest too deeply in the condition of this doomed detective, in case he goes down later, souring the entire portfolio.
It's not just me, Detective. Well, It's either bariatric surgery or long-term alcohol use.
She nods slowly.
Yes, and perform autoerotic asphyxiation on yourself with your funny necktie, out in the open somewhere.
Jesus Christ.
She won't maneuver her way out of this one.
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor, a devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra. An ultra-liberal. It's a type of liberal. From the revolution. It's, not the moderate kind. Haven't you heard? I am a nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp. One of those who pushed the king under a shit wagon and betrayed the revolution. We surrendered the nation to the financier pirates. No sane person identifies as an ultra-liberal anymore. Not in broad daylight. You're a man of the left. A true communard. Tell me, now that I've uncoiled myself, are you repulsed?
Communard doesn't mean communist, right?
In her green eyes you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride. Forgive her. But only because you like pearlescent teeth and those light green eyes.
I hope you do. I hope we are able to continue as friends, despite my scales and my need to infiltrate and betray your precious revolution. Honestly, I may have even preferred it, had the communards won. Who knows? They might really have built something better. But they didn't, because they lost. When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. This was all our last generation managed. With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez a monument to the efficacy of its artillery, I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the Coalition. Not here in Martinez, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta Beachheads either. If not for my own sake, then for my daughters. We had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isola down rather than let them have it.
I agree with that.
Dark orange flames reflect in her green eyes. An oil fire on the ocean.
Perhaps. My intellectual vanity will be my undoing.
You're no dummy yourself.
A smart boy getting smarter, one basic term of reality at a time. Yes, I suppose I am. But I wouldn't be a patriot anywhere but here.
Seditious talk, man.
Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother. And a wife. Now, shall we return to reality? A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions? Some sort of krill hunter? No, wait. You're an ancient ruin. A symbol of hubris and decay. Half submerged in some salty sea. Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. Ah! This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislaine, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or two. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. after Les Bâtiments Nouveaux.
As
But
soon as I'm done with
33A
this
and
lady in this
33B are
conversation,
not
I'm gonna
nouveau. They're
get
old.
off.
This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course. Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off.
Splat, splat.
Wonderful. The girl in the old lady rags. Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture.
I love the choices here. Okay, now explain the same thing, but to a child. That's great. But the next one's even better. I understand everything. Make it more complicated somehow. I want to pick this one.
I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead. All right. What next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
And what would that be? I can see that, yes. I dabbled in those dark arts myself, not so long ago. I assure you, it was a thoroughly supracultural phenomenon. All permeating. Downright mandatory. Nothing infra about disco, baby. Those days are long behind me. And even in the early 30s, I would say I was more of a new girl. Disco was a minor, but still enjoyable facet of the whole thing for me. The new, a cultural era, and the name of the decade it ravished, the 30s. It came out of post-revolutionary revival. It was ultra-liberal. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and champagne-colored everything. By the looks of it, that would have been when you came of age. Now, of course, you're much more grounded. A serious detective on a case called Reality. Speaking of, is there anything else? The girl in the old lady looks like a... Yes, she prefers a fantasy. I can't. That's how simple it... All right.
Damn it, I want to do the other
You're
option.
not so sure you're...
And what would that be? Ha, nothing infra. Those days, the new. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and Wasn't it Guillaume Le Million who said, if you can remember the new, you weren't there?
For some reason, your mind is a veritable repository of Guillaume Le Million lyrics, trivia, and B-sides. But the time to explore this is when you're alone, facing a mirror perhaps. Right now, it would derail the reality lowdown.
Okay, I see what they're doing there. Alright. Okay, I'm going to conclude, but I'm going to raise my spirit and come back to this.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else?
What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate, political opinions somewhere in Martinez. It's also about that, but it's also more. Perhaps it's the hangover. Perhaps it's a temporary surge of serotonin, but something tells you it's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience. It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances. In all of human history, it's only been achieved a handful of times. Incrementally, history's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment. Tisk tisk, just because you live in the present doesn't mean you have the right to place your needs above the needs of the future. You may never live to see the Kingdom of Conscience. Your children may not. Even your grandchildren might not. But that's no excuse not to keep working. What rationality? Do you believe the status quo is preferable to chaos and bloodshed? Then you've never lived through real chaos. Sometimes, in the face of great disaster, defending the status quo is progress. The kingdom is difficult to comprehend, and even more difficult to describe. Partly because humanity will need to discard many of the categories that define and limit it today. The Kingdom of Conscience is post-capitalist, post-national. It's also post-industrial, post-ideological, and even post-sexual. Slow down, Mr. Reasonable. Did you miss the part about compromising and taking things slow? That's right. Remember, real democracy is just around the corner for Revachol. When that real democracy kicks in, a long time from now, we are all going to be so much happier.
Okay, let me look at this. Okay. Well, that's gonna be it for now. I'm gonna stop it here. I thank you all for showing up, lurking, doing whatever, just watching. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for getting this far in the video. I appreciate it. May the force be with you, always. Bye. Actually, before I just end, let me see if I can raid out to someone. Hang on. Yeah, let's go see my friend Shade. Alright, check out Shade. He's playing Diablo 4. Pretty cool guy. Friend of mine. Thanks.